Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're going to have a 1v1 on Semoskiy Winter. Our heroes today are going to be Triple Square, which according to the forums is probably named Yukiko. Don't quote me on that, however, but that is what the forums said, Yukiko. So we'll call him that, Yukiko. Playing for the Soviets, and his opponent is going to be INFIEL, playing for the Germans. INFIEL who we are. So, a little bit about the players. Well, once again, before that, as you know, this is from the Sunday Night Fight Season 5 tournament, round of 128. So, that is why they're all in the same map. Anyways, yeah, about the players, the highest ranked would actually be Yukiko. His Soviet play is ranked in the 600s. And as far as the seeding goes, we have Yukiko on the 53 and INFIEL on 76. So, not that, not that different, not that far off, but, still Yukiko apparently has the upper hand. Pioneers and Combat Engineers fighting over here on the Northern Fuel. Tech-wise, we see that INFIEL went for the Ostrupen Doctrine right off the bat and got his Ostrupens on the field. Already up to 5 Ostrupen on the field, so that's a lot of Ostrupen. But, well, that is the nature of the Ostrupen Doctrine. So, we can probably assume that INFIEL is going to be going a lot of Ostrupen into Tier 2 half-track, which is the popular strategy, and honestly, really the only really viable way to use Ostrupen, because they're so weak that you can't really just use them, as additional infantry for the most part. But I suppose there might be some other strategies available that nobody uses. So yeah, the Ostrupens over here on the left-hand side getting shot down by the conscripts in the house. I mean, the combat engineers in the house. Combat engineers having a little bit of a turkey shoot there. Ostrupen in the center. They are going to pop into the house, so finally INFIEL getting the advantage there. Ostrupen in that house down south. Ostrupen in the fuel point, but they are denied the house by the conscripts down by the fuel point. More Ostrupen all over the place. We are now up to 7 Ostrupen squads in the field. And one of them potentially going to die over here if it doesn't run away. It is only getting shot at by 2 windows, so not a lot of damage going down on that Ostrupen squad, but even so, they will still lose against 2 conscripts. Conscripts in the center, she's moving around, really, no threat, even though there's so much German infantry surrounding them all over the place. They can't shoot, so, well, they might as well can't shoot is what I'm trying to say, because they can, but they're not really effective at it. Anyways, Yukiko decided to get himself Tier 1 after going 2 conscripts. He realizes that, well, Ostrupen really aren't going to do much against my conscript at this point in the game. I have conscripts and combat engineers in houses right now, just, dominating the map as far as battles go. So I'm going to get myself Tier 1, and I would assume probably Tier 1 into a scout car. Scout car where the flamethrower engineer would cook those Ostrupen very quickly. However, hell, even up. I mean, personally, I haven't tried it, but I think maybe a penal battalion would work wonders against Ostrupen. I mean, they're already stronger offensively than conscripts, and yeah, that's what he's going for. Interesting choice for Yukiko. We'll see how good that turns out. But yeah, I mean, at the fact that they are stronger offensively than conscripts, with their, just standard shots, and then you can add a flamethrower on top of that, that's gonna rip through Ostrupen like nothing. INFIEL already losing an Ostrupen somewhere. We see him now down to 6 Ostrupen squad, and I'm pretty sure I said there were 7 a while ago. So, yeah. Where? I don't know, but there's still Ostrupen all over the place. Right now, it's just congregated in the center. We have an Ostrupen squad down in the fuel, now finally going to cap, and we have combat engineers running in to, well, deny them that. And the penal battalion is now on the field. We're going to keep a close eye on that one. We don't see penal battalions that often, which is quite a shame. I think they're a interesting unit. I mean, a combat unit, non-worker that can have a flamethrower. I mean, that's pretty unique. Pretty sure we never saw that in VCO. Only Hengis and Pios had that ability. So Ostrupen down south, heading into the house. And where's that Penal Battalion? Penal Battalion now finally hitting the field. Ostrupen retreating in the face of them. No upgraded flamethrowers just yet. He doesn't have the munitions for it. Yukiko, that is. But they do a lot of damage to the Ostrupen. The Ostrupen over here. Look at the damage inside the house even. Penal Battalion decide to move along. They're now going to start shooting the other Ostrupen squad. The other Ostrupen squad going to jump into the house and continue along their way. No Molotovs, no nothing for Yukiko. And we now see that INFIEL got himself his tier 2 as we would have expected. And I can almost guarantee that is going to be a half-track. Although a Panzer Grenadier would also be an option, but... Wait, what is that? Is that a scout car? Okay, well, he's getting himself a scout car and a Panzer Grenadier queued up. Panzer Grenadier is fine, I mean, like I said, because you need some type of combat infantry. Most stupid. Don't know how to fight. But scout car, really? Oh. Interesting choice. Penal the battalion in the center, just already up to 6 kills, shooting Ostrupen left and right. Down south we see conscripts advancing against the Ostrupen. One of them actually gets shot in the process, but they are now shooting those Ostrupen dead. Ostrupen over here trying to retreat in the face of engineers, but it might actually die. Does it make it out alive? Barely makes it out alive. Center map. Yukiko executing an Ostrupen squad, and the scout car is now on the field. I don't know what I think about that. Well, I know what I think about it. I don't like it, but well, maybe it'll prove to be very effective. I don't know. Anyways, right now we see Yukiko retreating his infantry. Penal Battalion down to 3 men. Conscripts over here. One thing to keep in mind is that if you want to keep the cost down in reinforcing Penal Battalions, you can use your conscripts to merge. Reinforce the conscripts, merge them with the Penal Battalion, and then need to do that because that is 30 manpower to reinforce Penal Battalion troops and 20 for conscripts. And they are relatively the same. I'm not exactly sure if they're exactly the same, even though I've heard that they are, but they're relatively the same as far as strength goes. The unit itself, armor and health values. And by merging them, they already get the upgraded weapon, so you don't lose anything really. You should, in theory, gain manpower because you're not, spending as much. Anyway, scout car over here on the right-hand side, actually, well, being rather useful, pushing away engineer squad, pushing away another conscript squad. So Yukiko definitely caught with his pants down a little bit, I suppose, or caught by surprise, at the least, at the very minimum, by that scout car. He did get himself 18-8s already, so he should be able to combat that scout car. And we now have conscripts and Penal Battalion pushing into the center. Ostrupen squad in that house, being a little bit annoying, but getting shot. And that Penal Battalion could use the flamethrower upgrade, but once again, Yukiko is a little reluctant to do so. Penal Battalion getting chased down by the scout car. The scout car doing a lot of damage to that Penal Battalion. We do have a conscript squad nearby that could move in to throw an 18-8, but it doesn't look like it is inclined to do so. Scout car gunning down the Penal Battalion on the retreat. They get caught out in the open, a little bit stunned by the car, and don't retreat very quickly. Down to very low health, the scout car might actually finish off the entire squad. Can they make it out alive? Down to 2 men, very low health. More barrages go down. One last guy gets killed, but 1 man barely makes it out alive for Yukiko. So Penal Battalion at this point not panning out, but, well, we'll see. Panzer Grenadiers for INFIEL going down south, going to try to capture territory and cut off the southern part of the map to Yukiko. Center map, we hear a grenade going down in the conscript squad taking cover in the church. Nice bundle nade there by those Panzer Grenadiers. And that conscript squad, 1 man is going to get shot down by the scout car, and there it goes. So Yukiko not catching a break. Another conscript squad getting gunned down, and it looks like it was down here by this Panzer Grenadier squad. We have a combat engineer cut off, and it looks like INFIEL with that scout car decision might actually close the game. I mean, look at what Yukiko has. Had to tech up to tier 2 to get himself an AT gun, which I'm not entirely sure I agree with. I mean, he does have the option of getting guards, but he's going to get that. But yeah, he teched to tier 2, so he has less fuel now available to him and got himself an AT gun to at least keep that scout car at bay. And he is, for some reason, not moving it up to barrage the house, or at least take some shots at the house and collapse it. So a little bit of a, questionable decisions there by Yukiko. But right now, he has nothing on the field. Interestingly enough, however, INFIEL does not have this northern point connected, so he doesn't have his fuel connected himself. So very low fuel income for both players right now, 7 and 16. I mean, INFIEL will get a little bit more fuel incoming once these Ostrupen finally decide to capture this point, but since they capture at half the speed, as normal units do, they're going to take quite a while. AT gun moving over to the right-hand side to support the Penal Battalion. The Penal Battalion staying at range against the Panzer Grenadiers will actually, if I'm not mistaken, win that fight if they stay at range. But, again, don't believe me. Penal Battalion still no flamethrower, which is quite unfortunate, but INFIEL does not, Yukiko doesn't really have that much munitions. I'm not entirely sure what he has spent them on. More conscript squad getting produced for Yukiko, trying to replace his losses, and sending all his forces over to the right-hand side, so a little bit more concentrated in force. Penal Battalion doing some damage to the Panzer Grenadiers, taking some damage themselves as well. They decided to walk and get themselves right on top of the Panzer Grenadiers and do a lot of damage. Down to one man, has to force a retreat, and there goes that Panzer Grenadier squad. We'll make it alive just fine. We have Ostrupen over here putting down a trench. More Ostrupen coming in for support. A satchel charge there would probably work wonders, but I'm not sure if Yukiko is going to be inclined to throw it. He is, in fact, going to throw it right on top of the bunker. Of the trench. Down goes an entire Ostrupen squad, but Yukiko lost his Penal Battalion in the process as well. Center map, combat engineers just poking to see what they can see. They only see bullets flying in their face, and they do end up retreating. And yeah. So far, INFIEL pretty much dominating. He has the entire map in his possession. Only the southern side of the map is in possession for Yukiko. He jumps those conscripts into the trench. Very nicely placed there by INFIEL's Ostrupen. Combat engineers getting ripped apart by a Panzer Grenadier squad. Panzer Grenadier squad also catching that AT gun out of position. AT gun having to move back again. And the conscripts down here will not be able to stop those Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers just pursue the AT gun. And less than 300 points now left for Yukiko. Not looking good. No additional tech going down for INFIEL just yet. There we go. Now getting himself tier 3. So I would only assume that a flak panzer would be the optimal choice here, which it would. But as we've seen before, people are a little bit more inclined to get Panzer Force because they, I guess, maybe can't read their opponent as well. But, well, we'll see. Panzer Grenadier squad getting a little bit flanked by two conscript squads, getting shot on both sides. They decide to move on to one. They will be able to throw a bundle lane right on top of it. It tries to move. Down goes only one of them, actually. But the rest of them are not getting rinsed by those storm geweers. They end up retreating down to 2 men. We'll probably make it out alive, and there is a conscript squad there for support. But a lot of damage going down onto Yukiko. Shock troops now on the field for Yukiko. He went with the shock rifle frontline tactics, so that means he could get a KV-8 or IS-2 later on. But I don't know if the game is going to get to that later on. Panzer Grenadiers retreating. We have a artillery field officer for INFIEL. Pretty much, I guess, the replacement for Grenadiers, because, again, if I'm not mistaken, those are just Grenadier units with a officer attached to them.
Fire incoming!
So in theory, it means it should be almost as effective as a Grenadier squad. Ostrupen's laying down more trenches all over the place. Ostrupen's in the house, just denying territory. Shock troops pushing forward right on top of the house. They'll probably throw a nade, I would assume. Ostrupen in that trench. Nade going down to the trench, very nice, but only does a little bit of health damage. Even though they are Ostrupen, they are quite safe in that trench. They are very low in health for an entire squad, so they could get killed off very quickly. And the shock troops trying as desperately as they can to get those Ostrupen out of the house. They do manage to kill one, but there's now Panzer Grenadiers and more Ostrupen squad falling down on that shock troop squad. And Panzer Grenadiers against shock troops. Panzer Grenadiers will win if they are better team 0, I believe. And with the support of Ostrupen, well, they will win quite easily. More nades landing on the Panzer Grenadiers, and Ostrupen ripping that shock troop to shred. Down to one man on the retreat. Couldn't make it alive. The Ostrupen are not very good at shooting, but they could potentially kill it off with that low amount of health. And it just doesn't look like Yukiko has it today. Panzer IV on the field for INFIEL. It's like I mentioned, Black Panzer would do way more right now in this situation, and he has the fuel income to, you know, get a Panzer IV afterwards, but, you know, playing it safe. So Panzer Grenadiers pushing forward, they end up decrewing that AT gun. The Ostrupens will end up crewing up that AT gun and stealing it. Combat Engineers trying to hold the line against the Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers are veteran C2 now, which means they get increased armor. So even with that low amount of health, I mean, there's 3 men in that squad and they have like 5% health. But they still win that fight. And it looks like Yukiko throws in the towel. And INFIEL moves on. I mean, still anybody's game, I guess, at this point, but let me just double check. Was it INFIEL? Yeah, it was INFIEL. Okay, so yeah, I mean, a little bit of an upset there. INFIEL was the lowest ranking there and lowest seeded, so he moves on to the next round. So very good game there for INFIEL. He managed to win with his Ostrupen Doctrine. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replays you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email that I will put in the description. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.